from the beginning. Growing up in the South, I was taught seemingly endless rules of etiquette. Among them, that there is no rude way to say, "Yes, ma'am," and "No, sir." That holding doors for people behind you, never optional. That any snark can be masked with a "Bless your heart." And most importantly, don't go getting above your reason. Non-Southern translation, you are first and foremost defined by your family. So don't go acting like you're someone else. I remember the first time I felt fear. I was 7. My mom was sick again, and my dad was already drunk for the night. So I took matters into my own hands. I tried to cook, and inevitably burnt my dinner. I can still hear the thudding of my father stumbling downstairs. I don't recall what he said, but I remember the pain that tore through me as he pushed my body to the ground. As I laid there, he spat these words in my face. "Don't go getting above your raising, girl. You aren't one of those rich little brats who can afford to waste food." Trying to pick myself up, I lost my balance. I found it again, but it had changed. I remember the first time I felt hopeless. I was 15. My father had been laid off again. Turns out, being an alcoholic and a diagnosed psychopath are not traits that employers look for. It wasn't like his money was going to help us anyway. What money he had funded his flashy gifts for his many girlfriends, unending legal fees to make sure my mother was left penniless in the divorce, and buying us the bare necessities to keep up our middle-class appearances. My mother gave us all she could, but the infinite hospital fees for the disability that kept her from working quickly added up, and I was stuck. Stuck in a gender that didn't belong to me, stuck in a body that wouldn't shrink no matter how I restricted and purged, stuck in a circle of friends who I couldn't tell about my crushes who weren't boys, and stuck in a mind that wanted me to stop fighting. We couldn't afford the help I needed, so my mother gave me the best treatment she could, which was reminding me of that old rule I knew so well. Don't go getting above your reason. "For years our family has handled matters internally," she said. "We suffer in silence. Who are you to do any different?" I found solace in time spent alone, self-medicating on cigarettes and vodka, and the sharp kiss of metal on my wrist, until one night it went too far. Weak from hunger and lost blood, I collapsed on the cold bathroom floor. Hours later, I woke up and regained my balance, but it had changed. I remember when I lost control. I was 17. Everything was going well. Thank you very much. I had just been accepted to Duke. Thanks. I was valedictorian. I had even found myself a boy. But what I hid so cleanly behind smiles and working hard as a distraction was what everybody already knew. You can't go getting above your reason. My boyfriend was a younger version of my father, a spitting image of that mean man from my upbringing. For every declaration of love, there was a backhanded insult. For every night spent cuddling, there was a night spent trapped under him, wishing he would finish already so I could piece together what was left of my self-worth. For every play fight ending in a kiss, there was a screaming match ending in his threats of suicide, but he was all words and no action. Or so I thought. Until one blustery February morning, I walked out of my apartment to find him sprawled in a sea of red on the front seat of his car. Exhausted from speeding through hospital hallways and regurgitating his lies about accidents accident, 14 stitches later, I crumple on the white linoleum ER floor. I had lost my balance once more, but this time, I couldn't find it again. Since that day, I have been trapped in a perpetual gray area, stuck between two lives I can't find balance between. On any given night, I'm just as likely to find my next meal at an all-expense-paid scholarship dinner at the bar, as I am to find it by scouring event listings for any mention of free food. You can bet I aced my midterm, but I scored pretty damn high on that PTSD symptom questionnaire, too. I drive a shiny car, but I struggle to scrape together the money to fill up the tank. I'm here because I've been waiting for you, for anyone really, to actually see me, to see past my overachieving exterior and see the fragile person that I see in the mirror. In the concealer hiding the faint scar on my temple from when my father shoved me into the kitchen counter. In the eyeliner carefully adorning my eyes, one slightly smaller from the unhealed infection my mother told me not to worry about because what's the use in worrying when you don't have the money to fix it? I cherish these moments when my prodigal Duke self doesn't push my other, more vulnerable self into hiding. But when the moment ends, I shrink back behind my mask.